Well, hi, everyone. Let me start the screen sharing. Okay. Can everybody see me and hear me? All right, let's get started. All right. You are changing the world. Whether your organization feeds the homeless, teaches women to code, or rescue animals, you are changing the world. Changing the world is a hell of a story to tell. But that story needs to be told, and it needs to reach people. Communicating your story is essential to raising awareness and driving donations, which impacts your ability to change the world. My name is Alana Jackler, and I am the co-founder of DigiRiot and co-author of Social Video Guide. It's a soon-to-be-released DIY workbook on harnessing the power of social video for nonprofits. And today we're going to be talking about using live streaming to tell your stories, raise awareness, and raise money. So, communicating now looks like this. This is what we're doing. We're live streaming. And while it began as a way for people to connect in quarantine, it's become super popular, and there's a reason why. Besides our stay-at-home policies, live streaming is engaging, in the moment, and it feels authentic. It's engaging in the sense that it's a conversation between the person on camera, me, and the viewer, meaning you. It's also a potential conversation for you, the viewers, because you guys can interact in the comments and actually have a conversation. It's in the moment in that it's happening right now in real time. There's an immediacy to it. While you can watch the same video later, it's not the same experience as being here right now while it's happening. It's authentic in that it's unedited. You can plan all you want, and we will get into that because I do believe in planning. But at the end of the day, once you hit that live streaming button and go live, anything can happen. And I mean anything, which is scary, but it also makes it super exciting as a medium. Data shows that audiences are commenting 10 to 20 times more and are spending 3 times longer on live videos. Getting started is relatively easy. You don't need to be a Hollywood filmmaker or have a ton of technical knowledge or expertise. You don't have to spend a lot of money on equipment or hire a professional production team. Any money you do spend can be a part of your long-term investment in video strategy, which is key to telling your nonprofit stories. So let's get into what it takes to set up a live streaming studio on a budget. And I'm focusing on budget because I don't want you to experience roadblocks and say, well, we can't start now. I want you to get started now, and it should be that simple. So 5 things you need to stream. Clearly, an internet connection, a camera, a microphone, lights, and a content plan. So in terms of equipment, there's a vast variety of equipment options available for live streaming, but for less than $200, you can have everything you need to stream. Most live stream productions should be done in a single location with a stable and optimized setup like the one I'm using today. This involves having your laptop be your production studio. Right now I'm using my laptop for the presentation, and I have my camera set up on another in another area with my mic plugged into my laptop, and also my lights connected to my laptop through the USB ports. So alternatively, your cell phone gives you an opportunity to go live on location, but phones have several advantages for in-office use, which we'll get to in a bit. In terms of an internet connection, you want to make sure that your internet connection is strong. I can't stress that enough. Ideally, your router is directly plugged into your computer and you're not using Wi-Fi or a cell signal, because you really want to avoid any kind of delays or fluctuation, which is super common when you're just using Wi-Fi. In terms of a camera, we'll start with your laptop. Besides being a more stable internet connection than a phone, your computer has USB ports that allow you to plug in microphones, like I was just saying, and your camera. Yes, laptops do have built-in cameras, but as you can see from this still I pulled from the internet from a Zoom call, you can tell that they're not using webcams. I don't think most of them are, but most of the images are very grainy and blurry, out of focus. And you should definitely plan on getting a webcam. And for less than $50, you can buy a decent one on Amazon. In terms of your phone, these days phones capture high quality footage. And they're great for filming on the go. The real problem with phones has to do with your internet connection being weak, microphones not being good, and ultimately they're difficult to get a nice stable image. So you'll need to use an accessory like a tripod, holding your camera like this. It just tends to produce shaky footage. In terms of microphones, let's get real, having bad audio is way worse than having a bad image. If you make your video, ultimately it will make your video unwatchable. Audio qualities on your phone and laptop aren't very good. So I highly suggest using external options. One could be a desk mic, which is what I'm currently using right now. My desk mic is a Blue Yeti, which costs around $129, but you don't have to spend that much. My boyfriend just purchased this bad boy for his live streaming setup. It was $40. It's a no-name company, and I've never heard of it, Toner, but it delivers a good sound quality, and it came with a pop screen, which prevents situations like that, popping and sibilant S's. The other option is to use this, which is a lapel mic. I love how I'm bringing out all my options. So a lapel mic you would attach to your lapel, or the top of your shirt, and it would plug into your computer or plug directly into your phone. So the trick with mics is you want to make sure that your mic is as close to you as possible, which is ultimately the challenge that you'll face when you're shooting with your phone. So with your phone, you're going to want to essentially move the phone away from you to be able to capture the image that you want. But in doing so, it prevents you from getting good sound quality because the built-in mic already doesn't, because the built-in mic is too far away from your mouth. So once again, highly suggest making an external mic part of your production equipment. All right, so does this image look familiar to anyone? I know it's a common thing that I see in video chats, and what bothers me about it is that it can so easily be fixed. All you have to do is turn your setup around such that you're facing a window and you're utilizing natural light. So natural light is fantastic. Everyone has it, it's free. But the downside to it is that it's a light source and the sun is movable and you can't control it. So I would suggest purchasing a light. So this is obviously the solution with them turning to the window. So there are several different options in terms of purchasing a single light, and you can buy them for as low as $15. Ring light is great if you're producing a single host show. They're affordable, they're LED lights, and they create a real soft light. And they have ones that fit onto your phones as well. Okay, let's move on to content. So your content story can't be summed up in one video, nor should it be. It's an ongoing and evolving tale of how you're going to change the world. Live streaming once a week or even 2 times a week builds an ongoing relationship with your current supporters and creates multiple opportunities to gain new ones. Each live stream should have a plan. The easiest way to create a plan is to divide your content into segments. Each live stream contains 3 to 5 segments. They're distinct segments which help to break things up and keep things moving. And ultimately, your live stream should be around 20 to 30 minutes. Streams that are too long, people tend to get bored. Streams that are too short don't give people enough time to show up for the stream before it's over. In terms of the content segments, in this slide, you'll see a bunch of options. Every stream, you start with an intro and you end with an outro. But besides those two, the great thing is once you know the types of contents, that your organization is going to tell, you can just plug and play. It becomes super easy to mix and match any of these into a single stream based on your organization's needs. My biggest advice is to plan, and rehearse prior to broadcasting, because there's nothing like going live, which we're doing right now, and feeling unprepared. So yes, as much as you can plan ahead of time, that will make things go way smoother. So let's talk about intros. Intros are super important. They set the tone. They set up the audience expectations about what they're about to watch. And they should be short, simple, and clear. You want to introduce who you are, your name, your organization's name, and what you're about to talk about. I highly suggest scripting it out, and here's a sample one. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. My name is Alana Jackler. I'm the founder and co-author, of Social Video Guide, a DIY workbook that empowers nonprofits to tell stories through social video. Today, we'll cover everything you'll need to start live streaming to tell your nonprofit stories. Sound familiar? I did it earlier. Anyway, you'll want to reintroduce yourself through the stream as new viewers join. Say, hello, new people, call them out if their name pops up. It really allows the stream to stay relevant for people who are just coming in. All right, let's look at nonprofits in action. So I love this segment because it's all about showing what you do, showing your impact, and not talking about it. So ultimately, what does your nonprofit do? Do they build houses for low-income communities in Africa? Show it. An organization that I've worked with, Make-A-Wish, does a really good job at showing the work that they do and the impact on the people that they serve. So as a first video, I am going to show you this video, and we are going to discuss it after. So let's see. I know I need to stop sharing here. So I don't know if you can actually hear it given the fact that I'm having hearing problems. So I'm going to go back to my slide deck, but hopefully you were able to see that. So part of the reason why I want to show it is because honestly, I thought it was a missed opportunity. So that wasn't actually live streamed, but it could have easily been. It could have so easily been because they're already video chatting. So all they had to do was go live. So it was just a missed opportunity. And I thought it was cool because, you know, obviously most of us are in quarantine, and I'm sure Make-A-Wish is trying to figure out how to do the work that they do, which is grant wishes to kids. And this girl's wish was to meet the cast of American Horror Story. So she was able to meet them through Zoom. Probably not the same experience as meeting them in live, but still they were able to continue with their mission. And what an amazing opportunity it would have been to, you know, share it while it was happening with a live audience. Okay, moving on. We're going to discuss interviews. So, interviews. My personal preference and advice to you all is to make sure to invite guests which your nonprofit has helped to show your impact. You want to do a live screening before the conversation with your guests for them to get to know you, to put them at ease, and this will also help to inform the questions that you're going to ask them. In terms of questions, you want to prepare a list of 3 to 5 questions, but be ready to go with the flow and change direction based on what's happening in the moment during the actual live stream. Also, find ways to include the audience. So just because you're interviewing someone doesn't mean that you can neglect the audience. So find ways to involve them, like include their questions as part of the interview. Another segment, obviously, is fundraising. Social platforms are making it much easier for nonprofits to receive donations, and live streaming is an amazing way to reach your community and live stream and make a plea in real time. Dedicating a short segment to fundraising. It allows you to stream without constantly soliciting donations from your viewers. And so it puts them at ease and ultimately brings more value to your viewers. Something I did want to say, since I brought it up in the interview section, I see some of you are commenting. I want to make sure that if you have any questions along the way, I'm going to plow through this because I know we have a short amount of time and this is a lot of information, but please do make sure to ask any questions in the comments, and I will try and make sure we're able to get to them at the end. Okay, so back to fundraising. In terms of what you want to put in this segment and what you want to say, you know, you want to be clear and concise with your ask. You want to make it easy for people to donate. And you want to make donation requests as specific as possible, specific to an initiative. So for example, I wrote a script for Make-A-Wish that says, right now, I want to introduce you to Jamie. Jamie's wish is to spend the day at Disneyland with Taylor Swift. We're raising money to make Jamie's wish come true. Please donate using the link in the description below. So I'm letting you know what we're raising money for. I'm introducing you to the actual person. We're raising money, which is what we're doing. I'm pointing the viewer in the direction with the link. All right, so every live stream should end with an outro. An outro signals to the audience that the live streaming is coming to a close. And here are the elements that you want to include. You want to thank viewers. You want to thank guests. You want to thank, say, the Digital Fundraising Summit for hosting you, if that's part of your live streaming. You want to have a call to action. So what do you want your viewers to do? You want to remind them to tune in next time. You want to tease them with information about what's coming up next week. All right. Okay. I threw this in. It's a cute puppy. This is a lot of information, and why don't we take a second, breathe before moving forward. Just a second, to look at the cute puppy, and we're off. Next, what platform should you choose? All right. So you want to pick a platform based on where your audience lives or who you're targeting. So for example, if you're looking to tap into the Gen Z community, you probably want to consider using TikTok. Ultimately, I hold off on that right now, given its uncertain future in America, but there is some potential there. Twitch, while it's not just for gamers anymore, their audience tends to skew young, like teens. A large portion, the good thing is a large portion of Twitch's audience is socially conscious. But here's my recommendation. I definitely think it's a platform to keep your eye on, and I think there are opportunities, but rather than starting a new channel from scratch, I would consider partnering with an existing Twitch streamer to do a fundraising effort together if and only if that audience is something you want to reach, people you want to reach. All right, let's talk YouTube. So YouTube is not just for cute cat videos and daily vlogs. YouTube has really invested time and energy into creating social impact and helping nonprofits. And they've created a ton of amazing resources for nonprofits. Their audience also skews young, and their big verticals some of their big verticals are beauty and gaming. But according to YouTube, if you're targeting millennials, 85% of millennials are on YouTube. So that's something to consider. So ultimately, the way I see it, the biggest downside to YouTube as is that it's really difficult to reach people without teaming up with, say, an influencer or paying for ads, working within the YouTube ecosystem. So at the very least, create a YouTube channel, upload your live streams afterwards, allows you, to build a content library and allows your videos to be searchable so people can watch them after. All right, Instagram. I'm gonna grab some water. Instagram. If you're looking to reach more women, Instagram is certainly the platform to consider. Going live is super easy, and once your organization starts going live, that live stream gets notified to all your followers, which I think is a fantastic thing. People can join your live stream if you let them, and if you do, that live stream audience gets expanded into including whoever you invite into the stream, which is also really fantastic. So two things I'm not a big fan of in terms of Instagram, and I'd say they're pretty big deals, is Instagram, ultimately, it's a difficult platform to share. You can't inherently share. You would have to download an additional app like Regram in order to do it. And it's not an inherent part of the platform. If you're incorporating interviews into your streaming as one of the segments, I'm not a fan of the layout where you have one guest on top of the other, because I always like to repurpose streams such that I save them and then repost them or pull clips from them and, share shorter clips. So what platform should you choose? Well, Facebook. Facebook is currently, in my mind, the best option for streaming of all the platforms. They have the largest audience, they have the most engagement tools, and it's just super easy to stream. So in order to get started, if you haven't already, you need to enroll your organization on Facebook. And also super easy, the qualifications include being a 501c3 organization, having your tax ID number, having a bank account, and the info of your CEO or executive director. The one thing to keep in mind is that donations through Facebook incur a 5% fee. So that is something to consider. In terms of live streaming, here are some stats. Live streaming on Facebook specifically. 1 in 5 videos on Facebook is a live broadcast. Daily watch time on Facebook live broadcasts grew 4.5 times over the course of this year. And because of it, Facebook is making it easier than ever for people to live stream. They've created really fun, interactive tools like reaction emojis and watch parties to invite your community to stream. The streams are now more accessible and inclusive. As a publisher, your organization can include closed captions on Facebook, in Facebook Live. So it helps people who are deaf or hearing impaired to experience the live stream videos as well. It's also prioritizing live streams in people's feeds, such that they're alerting your followers, encouraging them to watch in real time. So it's putting your stream in front of your fans. Another thing I would encourage as I grab a sip of water is to check out Facebook's Creator Studio. I'm not going to go through them all, but let's just say there are a ton of tools which you can utilize. One of my favorites, because I find going live, the start of live videos is always the hardest. You usually have those couple of seconds or maybe a few more where you're uncertain whether you're live. It's something that you can practice and get better at. But the great thing about Facebook and the Creator Studio is that you can actually go in and trim those couple of seconds off, such that when you save the video, it saves without that, so you can get rid of it. And the same thing at the back end of the video, you can, because you know the two things that are hardest to do in many ways in a live stream are the beginning and the end. So in terms of Facebook, one final thing I'm going to talk about is just my biggest pet peeve with Facebook right now, and that has to do with your inability to bring a guest, stream with a guest. But it's using a third-party tool like StreamYard or BeLive or Zoom allows you to easily bring on guests and do interviews. All right. So we are going to talk about this amazing story which I uncovered, and we'll start by just looking at this photo. So what happened was the Humane Society got a call about this hoarding situation and a group of Yorkies who needed rescuing, and they broke the news on Facebook using Facebook Live. We are going to watch a montage of all the things because they really did such a fantastic job of utilizing the medium as a tool. So they broke the news, and then, hold on, I am going to change my sharing and share. All right, so hopefully you're all still with me, but essentially they started documenting when the puppies were brought to their facility, and then their CEO or president broke the news about the hoarding situation while holding a cute puppy. There you have a police officer who was involved in the case and described the situation. There they interviewed a doctor, veterinarian, who was talking about the poor conditions of the puppy. They were covered in urine. Oh, and there's a cute dog video. I mean, I could watch that for days. But ultimately, they were inviting audiences into the process. This is one of my favorite videos because not only did they film a cute puppy eating, but I'll show you one thing. I'm going to stop sharing this because I want to share with you this other screen. So while they were streaming, they were doing an initiative, both fundraising and an adoption initiative. So as you can see in their title, they crafted a hashtag, which is great. So it became super searchable, 92 Yorkies. And they said, update, how can you help to be part of their recovery? And throughout the live stream, what I loved is that they really were specific with their asks. How can you adopt? And ultimately, how can people give? And because of it, they raised over $100,000 in a single evening. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about related to this is the hashtag 92 Yorkies. So I plugged in the hashtag on Facebook, and what was amazing was that so this event happened in 2017, and there's still a community today on Facebook engaging and sharing stories about their dogs. So I'll show you one last video. Oh, you know what? I'll stay here. The video, I'll describe it. It's a reunion. So they ended up doing a reunion probably about a year ago with the dogs and interviewing the people that adopted. And what's amazing is that not only were they able to cover their expenses and raise more than their expenses, but they were really able to cultivate a community, an engaged community then, and an engaged community that exists today. I am losing my voice. Okay, so in terms of what I learned and my takeaways from it. So I don't know if you could tell from the video that I showed, but they weren't really technically proficient. They didn't have mics, they were filming with an iPhone, but they saw an opportunity to tell their story and utilize the resources they had at the time. And they managed to capture the hearts and wallets of their community. And you can too. Just remember, you are changing the world. Start streaming and let people know about it. Here's my outro. Thanks for joining me today. Thank you to the Digital Fundraising Summit for putting together this amazing event and for including me. I hope that the session on live streaming was helpful and has inspired you to get started now. And we're gonna take some questions now, but if you do wanna stay in touch, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is Alana, A-L-A-N-A, at Alana Jackler. I will put it in the comments, but I can actually go back to my, oh, there it is. That's right, I have a final screen with my photo. There is my email address. So I am happy to use whatever time left to answer any questions. That might be difficult because I can't hear you, Candace.
Fantastic.
But let's see, I can, the question is, I'm gonna stop sharing and look at the chat. Can you, I will scroll through the chat and see if there are any questions that I can get to. All right, so let's see. How long does it take for your Canva application to be? All right, give us a second. All right, we can hear you, we can hear you, we can hear you. Yes, you can hear me. All right. Let's see, watching. All right, enjoy, enjoy. I'm scrolling through, okay. So how do we make appeals during live fundraising event when you don't have response from audience? So, well, I went into this a bit in the live streaming. The fundraising segment is just create a segment that's specific to fundraising such that you're not, inundating people with asks throughout the entire stream. But, ultimately, you want to be clear, concise, and most importantly, you want to be specific in your ask. So that question that I was answering was related to fundraising appeals. All right, so in terms of, do I search live stream on Facebook to register? I would Google Facebook nonprofits and it'll immediately come up. I mean, but you can probably put it in the Facebook search bar and it would come up as well. If you connect your organization's account, you can get the donations every 2 weeks. That is a good point. Thanks, Teresa. Facebook, let's see, how can your logo display on the screen? So that's a good question. And that has to do with using third-party tools like StreamYard and BeLive, and there's a bunch of others. The reason why I mention in particular StreamYard is that it's super easy to use and you can start using it actually for free. They also allow you to stream on multiple platforms. So if you want to at once stream on YouTube and I believe Twitch and Facebook, they don't allow you to stream on Instagram. But within that platform, they allow you to upload your logo icon and include it as part of the stream. Okay. And last, I knew they weren't charging fees still. They're not. They give you, I just did it with someone. They give you, I want to say like a 7 to 10 day period where you have the full toolkit, so you could multi-stream, but their basic is still for free. And I personally, if we're talking about whether you should multi-stream, I personally don't think it's necessary. I think it's perfectly fine to stream on one platform and then upload it onto another. Ultimately, you want to stream with where your audience is. So if your audience isn't on YouTube, I don't think you need to multi-stream, because it also makes promoting the stream difficult. You want to make sure that you're sending someone with a specific link and promoting before you go live. And of course, that's my phone. All right, let's see how much time we have. We have a bit of time, so let's see. Thank you for, okay. These were great. Oh, let's see. Oh, there are more questions. All right, so let's see. Yeah, you can also use Facebook live streaming with CauseVox for fundraising, and you'll get donations every 2 business days. So that's cool too. Remember to share. Okay. For fundraising appeals, how would you make an appeal without response from audience? We went over that. All right. CauseVox's basic plan is free. All right. Candace, does the free plan include? Yes, you can embed live streaming videos in campaigns. That's great. What's your advice for helping people relax in front of camera? That's a good one. I'm like sweating now, so I don't know how relaxed I was, but as a former performer, I'd say My advice, which is probably something I didn't use myself because it felt very manic at the beginning. I didn't have the link to the stream, and then all of a sudden I realized I couldn't hear Candace, but you want to take a moment to settle in and make sure that you breathe. Honestly, this stream was a bit of an outer body experience, especially getting going, but I still hope you enjoyed it. It's ultimately, you just want to, get grounded. If meditation is your thing, great, but you just want to get connected to yourself. That's the best way. And it's something, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, because it's a weird thing staring into a camera without really getting any interaction, without hearing someone's voice on the other side. So unless it's an interview. So let's see, what's next? What is your advice? All right, we just did that. Also, if you chance speaker headphones using the carrot in your room. Also, if you have the chance, okay, so I'm supposed to do something, and if you have a chance, your speaker as your headphones using the carrot in the lower left corner. So I obviously, oh, this is why, hello? No, I still can't hear you.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Let's see.
Oh, you're muted.
All right, well, I'm gonna continue. You can still hear me? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. How can you display logo? How much would you recommend for your organization to market before you go live? That's a good thing, because ultimately, while Facebook is involved in getting your live stream in front of your audience, they're actively working on doing that as part of their, your audience's feed. You definitely want to promote it. I think you can promote it in different ways. I definitely, day of, I like to do like a story an hour before as a friendly reminder. I usually do something early that day, so several times throughout that day. But ultimately, if you're creating content on a weekly basis, the audience starts to get to know the day and time. You really want to schedule that in. Make it a part, make them like tune in at a certain time. Oh, something that didn't come up in this discussion yet was like when you should stream. Which is often a question I get asked, and that goes back to your audience as well. Like where you should stream and when you should stream is based on your audience. And that type of information, those kind of analytics and stats are available to you on the platforms. So just look and see where, when your content gets watched, and honestly, that's when you want to stream. Okay, could I organize an auction on Facebook Live? I can't speak about auctions. I haven't done them, so I am not an expert in them. I will do some research and speak to some people, and I'm happy to get back to you. If you want to reach out to me, email me, and I can maybe connect you with the right person who can talk to you about it. What platforms would you suggest that have multiple host or speaker capabilities and other features to engage the audience? Well, one of the things that I really like, which StreamYard makes available, is you're allowed to post the comments in the stream, so you see them. So it allows you to engage with comments in real time. Like for me in a stream, it's really difficult to go from here to scrolling through, and it breaks things up. So there are definitely certain, tools and software out there that allow you to, especially if you have a producer helping to produce the segment, they can pull a comment up for you such that you can see it as part of the stream, and it becomes really easy to engage with people rather than spending, like we're doing, the last 5 to 10 minutes of, you know, a conversation, answering questions. Okay. What is a good way to create an engaging live stream that involves watching pre-recorded content? Okay, a musical performance, or should pre-recorded content even be live streamed? So this is an interesting question, and that's something that came up recently with a client of mine. And I don't know if I can fully say that it's a good idea, but I'm certainly trying it. One thing that we are doing is utilizing the watch party tool, which I think is a fantastic tool, where you can bring a group of people together and watch something together, and as a group have a conversation together. So it feels like it's not, it feels engaging in a similar way that live streaming is. I would say that's the best way to utilize it, is organizing something around it, where it doesn't feel, because pre-recorded content has just like a, wait, let me just read this question. What is a good idea to create an engaging live stream that involves watching pre-recorded content? Look, ultimately, I think you can do it if any of your live streams you felt like really resonated, or especially if it's a specific fundraising effort that you want to repurpose and restream, creating a Facebook watch party where you're watching as a group together, I think could work. It really just depends on the content. Yeah, it just depends on the content, but it's worth trying out, because honestly, all this stuff is relatively new. Like, I'm still figuring it out. Like, a lot of these tools are relatively new. Like, live streaming's been around for a while, but in terms of like social platforms offering these tools and making them available to consumers like us, you know, and there goes a notification. All right, let's see. All right, yeah. Well, and this is something also to consider. Third-party programs can play video in a live stream during a watch party. So a rewatch party. That just as a side note. I watched a benefit for a dance company that was held through Zoom, I think. It used pre-recorded and live performances. I loved it. But I imagine that you have to practice a lot. Yes, yes, yes. So I've been watching a lot of online fundraisers recently, and you know, because obviously in-person fundraisers, they're just not a thing right now. So a lot of people have turned into live streaming to host their gala, but obviously have changed the format completely. What I think has been really interesting is the way that they've utilized it. So some people have chosen to go live the entire time, which I think is super hard because it requires certain technical capabilities that I don't think are necessary. I think you can produce a well-crafted fundraising live stream that is a hybrid, where some elements are pre-recorded and some elements obviously are going live. And one fundraising event I saw that did it really well. So they had the host, and the host was live, and the pre-recorded videos ended up being people who have been impacted. And so they threw in the stories. The stories were the pre-recorded bits, and then they came back to the host and then brought in like, you know, the executive director. So it was the host and the executive director, and we're ending soon. So I see you. Well, thank you so much. Once again, if you want to reach out to me, or, you know, please email me at alana@alanajackler.com. ask any questions. If you want to be on my email list, thank you so much. Thank you to Digital Fundraising Summit. Thank you to Candace. I'm so sorry I couldn't hear you.
Thank
but this was
you.
so much fun.
It's so
Bye, guys.
good. Bye. Thanks, Alana.